We are very proud to say that we built the Middle East's first water-cooled high-performance compute as a service data center in Sharjah Research Technology Innovation Park. Anybody who wants to develop an AI model or an AI application can use our infrastructure. Now it is a product and it is an Emirati product.
Yeah.
So you can export to all the countries outside.
This is rooted, yeah? I allow the access.
Data is gold, right? Data is the new oil. Their AI can also be used to give a human,
This is the only time a person can answer, where do you see yourself in 5 years?
One area, and oil and gas is obviously the next. You had the whole ecosystem ready for us, to take it to the next level.
Accurate by percentage is this?
It is 98% accurate.
Wow.
Yeah. So Sharjah has this huge appetite for building that ecosystem.
Mr. Satish Vasu.
Yes.
So I know a few things about you from which you just told me, which is amazing. But I want you to tell me more about AHB. Was this company the reason for you to come? Or because you were here, you thought of this company?
Okay, so let me go back and tell you that actually I'm part of a company called as Baikal Technologies Limited, which is a UK-based company.
Baikal.
Yeah. So we come from the UK and then we set up our office here in DIFC. And then we were looking at prospects of launching in the Middle East, especially in UAE being the hub,
Yeah.
And we said, where do we start off? Then we started talking to local investors, companies who wanted to grow from their traditional business into technology business or innovation business or new business.
Okay.
And that's how we spoke to the group, Al-Adbur Group.
When was that?
That was in 2021.
Okay.
We started talking. And then we clinched, it took us almost a year to clinch that deal. And then in 22, we started the Al-Adbur Baikal,
Okay.
which is a joint venture between Al-Adbur Group and Baikal Technologies Limited. So that's now set up in Sharjah and called as Al-Adbur Baikal.ai.
Baikal.ai.
Yeah, and the .ai, of course, it denotes the famous artificial intelligence.
Innovation, technology, a new era.
New era. Completely new business. And the group also wanted to grow from their traditional trading businesses to what is becoming the trend. So that's the whole idea of getting into this innovative business for the group.
So you've been in the UAE for 26 years?
I've been in the UAE for 26 years.
With Baikal?
Not with Baikal. I was previously working with other companies. It's all in the IT field.
Okay.
So I've been in the IT field for long enough, all 26 years. So it was personally for me also, it was a jump from traditional IT to artificial intelligence.
How will you compare both? How will you express your opinion about that?
So IT is more of a traditional way of doing business, which is the infrastructure, the communication, the technology that revolves around that. But artificial intelligence is much more than what I say is in IT. It's a new era where you use all this infrastructure, but to grow the capabilities around this infrastructure to do your business much better. That is how.
And how is AHB doing this now? How is the company operating? What are the fields?
So we are very proud to say that we built the Middle East's first water-cooled high-performance compute as a service data center in Sharjah Research Technology Innovation Park.
Nice.
Which is the Middle East first and the 27th in the world. So we have put ourselves right on the map of the world.
You very well put yourself on the map.
Yeah. So we put ourselves right on the map, and without high performance compute, there is no AI.
Okay.
So we build the basic infrastructure to build the capabilities of AI. So the artificial intelligence applications is now ready to launch, train. The models can be trained on our infrastructure and then put on the edge. So we are ready for that. So we build that basic infrastructure for all companies to adopt. That is how we started.
So you're telling me that AHB is building the AI infrastructure for any company that needs help with this field?
Yes, our aim is to democratize the availability of HPC to all companies, whether it is government, whether it is universities, research organizations, anybody who wants to develop an AI model or an AI application can use our infrastructure on a pay-as-you-go model. So they don't have to build their own infrastructure because it's very expensive.
Yeah.
And not many times you get to optimize that cost or get that return on investment, because AI is a lot about experimenting and scaling, So when you want to do those initial experimentation, you want to build that model based on data, you need that infrastructure. You just can't go and buy $4-5 million infrastructure just to experiment.
And then see if it will work or not.
And see if it will work or not. And then
unless you have this kind of money.
Unless you have this kind of money. And I'm sure everybody is trying to today save cost.
Definitely.
And optimize, better results. So
see, I don't think it's only save cost.
Yeah.
It's also people being aware.
Yes.
People are more knowledgeable now than they were 10, 15 years ago.
I agree with that. Yeah.
So it's more of, I know that there are so many ways that we can do this better. I just don't know which one it is. So I go to look for companies that can help me and provide. It's exactly the same of what you do. So what you just said basically is the vision of the company?
Yeah, so this is the infrastructure. So when we started building our applications, we found that the infrastructure is not there. Either the big players are there, which is the Amazons and I don't want to name the big players, everybody knows it. And then there comes, a lot of challenges that are associated with these big companies.
Yeah.
So when we were trying to build AI applications based on challenge statements of the industry.
Okay.
So what are the challenges in a particular industry? And if you want to tackle the challenge statements, we use artificial intelligence and data science to tackle those challenge statements, obviously by using our own HPC infrastructure. So one is we are trying to build the infrastructure itself. Second is build the product itself. And there is a third element to it, which is technology transfer.
Yeah.
So we are looking at universities to look at their IPs.
Okay.
So if there are IPs that can solve these challenge statements, then we take that IPs and build products. So if you know the NASA terminology of technology readiness level.
Yeah.
So the universities are, they are where the knowledge is, right? So they are at TRL 3.
Okay.
Which is, they have the knowledge, they have built an IP around it, but they have not built a product out of it, and they have not tested with the real world or the real industry. So we take that from IP to product to commercialization and market development. So 3 distinct areas that you see.
To understand this more,
correct.
Given the example you just said, how will the university give the final product with the technology you provide?
So if the universities have IPs, let's take an example to get it much better. So there's a student in a particular university that has developed an IP based out of how to look at email spoofing, web spoofing, the websites, where you have broken URLs, or let's say if it is Sharjah Chamber of Commerce, you write SCC and then you write another A or something like that.
Yeah.
And then people go and do a transaction and they don't know. The website looks similar. So he's built this as a base technology and a base IP. So we took it up from him. And now we have built a product. We are building a product out of it, which is known as Cyber Eagle Eye.
Okay.
So we will the part of the IP will belong to, it depends on the university, if it belongs to the student or the university.
Yeah.
And then we own the front IP, which is everything commercialization. And
to secure everything at the at one layer of it. It will
Yeah.
protect the whole thing
Yes.
and then provide the service on the other
Sure.
on another
So
layer.
now it is a product, and it is an Emirati product.
Yeah.
So companies and government institutions in the UAE will be more, what do you say, more accepting
Yeah.
to look at this because it is built locally. So it's a localized product. And this also aligns to the UAE strategy, right? So now you can even export this product. So this product is not only UAE,
For
but
the
you can
university
export
only.
to Middle East, you can export to all the countries outside.
If I'm understanding right, what you're saying doesn't open doors of opportunities. It's actually a dam of opportunities by itself,
Yes,
because this can apply in every single field
correct.
available on planet Earth.
Sure. So what is happening? Universities have a lot of research. Whether it's not only related to AI,
Yeah.
it can be related to any technology.
Yes.
And today universities are more and more challenged to get funds. To develop more. So universities are also asking their professors and students, okay, it's good that you researched now, but what next? Are you building a product? Are you
Archive.
selling it? Or you're just lying it on the shelf?
Archive.
Archive it, and then it's lot of investment that is lying on the shelf, and the industry can use that for their benefit.
So this is how it is integrated in the traditional sector.
Correct.
This is how your company contributes to this.
Yes, we are contributing. We are contributing to localization of the product. We are contributing to ensure that the students are becoming budding entrepreneurs by giving a share and also helping them to scale to the market, right? Because when these students come, their knowledge, they have lots of knowledge.
They do.
But they don't know the market.
They know how.
Yeah, the know-how to get into the next stage or to make it a product, from product to support to the industry,
Yeah.
marketing. A lot of commercial aspects of the business are missing.
Okay, now let me ask you this.
Sure.
This is a solution that every company can actually use and make life easier for its own.
Correct.
Whether to manage the company by itself, the assets, or create assets,
True.
or even to export a product as you explained, or just to be up to date with everything, just to make it easier to archive in a smart way, in a new technology using AI way.
Correct.
What are the challenges that are facing companies in adapting these new technologies and AI in the Middle East from your expertise in the past years?
I think the biggest challenge that people are facing is the data sovereignty, which means the inability to take data outside the country.
Okay.
Or in some cases, even outside the premises.
Okay.
Right? Data is the key to AI. So that is one challenge. I think data sovereignty along with data security also becomes a challenge, because data is gold, right? Data is the new oil.
It is.
And now if those data gets leaked, people are worried that, will that data be misused? And obviously the ethics part of it, that who's sharing the data, who's taking the data, and what purpose it is being repurposed or retrained, or what is being actually done. So these are a few challenges that is predominantly this part of the world compared to other parts, but that challenge is being now overcome slowly. And second is, even the adoption of AI is pretty much slow in many of the sectors. The sectors which are fast in the Middle East in adopting this is retail. I can see is one big adopter, because they are looking at customers' data and the value behind their data that can be used to create more opportunities for their own customers. That is, create more sales by using the data of what promotions can be done, what are the seasons that can be done. That is one area. And oil and gas is obviously the next, which is a big adopter.
Is it?
Yeah.
how does it implement?
So oil and gas, I think one of the biggest oil companies in the region has used AI to reduce the flares
Okay.
that come out and emissions by 50%.
Wow.
By using the data to much more effectively understand how this is happening. The traditional two sectors which I feel which is not adapting in the Middle East is probably construction, real estate, where they have a lot of data, but the data is not properly structured.
You think that
to
they
optimize.
should?
They should, yeah.
Huge amount of data that they can use, and as you
Yeah.
said, data is money. Like, for example, I'm trying to think outside of the box now. I'm trying to adapt with what you're saying. If I have a construction company and I have the data, I can actually use the AI you provide
Correct.
to manage my data and then make it as a product that I can export to new companies.
Correct.
Or if I have a successful model that I can actually sell as a product
Perfect.
to other companies.
Perfect.
Yeah?
Yeah. A lot of if you look at traditional construction and real estate, there are a lot of cost overruns because of lack of planning or changes that
Yeah.
happen.
Yes.
Now,
Changes is a big thing in
so
construction.
now if you actually do let's say a digital twin
Okay.
of what you're actually going to build. So you have a plan, you have a layout of the district, of the city. If you actually build a parallel of that into the digital world
Yeah.
and start training on the model of creating, how does a road infrastructure look after 5 years if the number of cars today is 100,000 coming in an hour,
Wow.
and then,
Wow.
after 5 years it is
I'm starting
200,000.
to understand.
Yeah.
So I'm getting impressed with
Yeah.
I'm getting impressed by imagining what you're saying.
Yeah.
I just took it and ran with it. And yeah, you can
You can
AI.
model that, you can see if that road infrastructure is good enough.
I'll just give the AI the
Yeah.
information I have,
Yeah,
which is based on numbers that government have today
true.
and companies have
Yeah.
as well.
And what is your plan 5 years, 10 years, 20 years, You can start very small, but how do you flexible, So plan that out in real data. You can put that data and see how it looks like the road.
I think this is the only time a person can answer, where do you see yourself in 5 years?
Yeah, this is how you can see.
I can actually use AI and give it all the information, all the data I have.
Yeah,
Only then I'll have the answer.
yeah. You're going to build 200 buildings, for example, in the next 5 years or 10 years. You'll start with, let's say, 10 buildings.
Wow.
So you can build all that,
You
and
definitely
look
can.
at the future of infrastructure. You can actually plan and reduce that cost.
Let's relate all of this to Sharjah.
Correct.
What's the company's role in supporting the local market in Sharjah?
So, from a local support perspective, we are doing a few stuff. Like I said, from the IP perspective.
Yeah.
So, we used
Which is related to
Sharjah.
university
universities.
per se
Yes.
only?
Yes, from the universities. That is one. I just wanted to tell you how this triple helix
Okay.
of university, which is the academia, government, and private sector together
Okay.
can build this whole new innovative ecosystem.
Okay.
So we built something with the university in Sharjah to look at diabetic retinopathy, early detection of diabetic retinopathy,
Okay.
using a simple camera, right?
Is it possible?
It is possible. So we used a fundus camera on a smaller scale to take your images, upload it into the AI model, and detect in 2 seconds whether you have diabetes retinopathy or not. Now,
How accurate by percentage is this?
it is 98% accurate.
Wow.
Yeah. But the more the data we start seeing, the more
accurate it is, definitely.
It will get. So now this is being built with local resources. Now we are trying to scale that into Sharjah Health Authority, to various other departments. So this becomes, very, very important for getting what you call as primary healthcare much more effective in rural places or in places which are in interior parts of Sharjah. I mean, today nothing is interior in UAE. It's every place is developed. But still, you can have those quick primary healthcare, and then he says that, okay, you have diabetic retinopathy, then you can look for further healthcare.
True.
Now, here you see the research and the government which will become effective, and the park itself which is helping us to reach those government departments. So Sharjah has this huge appetite for building that ecosystem. And
which is happening in front of our eyes as we speak.
Yes, and this is why even, our whole data center was inaugurated by Her Highness Sheikha Badur herself,
Yeah.
because she understood what is happening, and she understood that, what innovation and technology is going to do. And she being the president of the park itself, and we are located within the Sharjah Research Technology and Innovation Park. So she knows that we are bringing in that innovation, not only to ourselves, but not only to the park, but the whole ecosystem within the park and the government departments.
Speaking of which, I have a chip implanted in my arm, if you can see it.
Okay.
See, that's an NFC chip.
Okay.
This is something that I had a vision in mind about. And I think this is something that's going to be very normal. And people will be relying on that much, much better, or much more than it is right now, because of the technology and the AI and everything. This can be used in so many things. Like now, this is looked at something different, or what is this and how could you do that? But I think with this technology, so many things can be done.
Yeah, because you're collecting data, right? At the end of the day.
Other than that, you can make this, because this is rooted, yeah?
Yeah.
So I allow the access to whoever reads that.
True.
Like in the house, I can use this to turn on, turn off lights in my room.
True.
Or set an environment, whole environment.
True.
Imagine how will life be if we can integrate AI to something like this.
Sure.
And it doesn't have to be implanted. This can actually be a sticker on the hand that you can leave for a week.
So AI can even understand, I'm looking at another level where you need not even switch the lights on or off by yourself.
As soon as I walk in.
Because the AI is understanding whether you are
in the room.
You are coming to the room. The AI is understanding your mood, because it is looking at your facial expression.
The facial, the bio.
Yeah, the facial expression is AI can now read your sentiments, right? Because a lot of airports is applying this to look at customer happiness.
True.
How happy is when the customer comes into the immigration after his services are done. So they're even analyzing that.
Yeah.
So, you are in a bad mood and you want to play during those times, your ability is to loosen yourself by using light music. Who knows? So you're in a bad mood, you get into your house and you can see the lights on and the music playing,
Yes.
Or your favorite TV channel or your football coming up, and that's AI for you, looking at your sentiments.
It is. AI is gonna play a bigger role in our lives, a bigger role than we can actually imagine or think of right now.
Sure, very much.
So, how Sharjah's strategic location impacted the company and the company's operation? How did that play a role, since you already worked in other locations? Let's compare it. Not compare, I don't want to compare. But let's experiment Sharjah's impact on your operation.
Big impact. So let me start by saying that we were looking at a place where we wanted to be surrounded by an ecosystem.
Okay.
As I said, the triple helix, academia, industry, private sector. So when we got to look at this picture on a very vision and mission perspective, we realized that, Sharjah is the right place, because the park is situated right in the university city.
Yes.
So you had access to the university. You had access to the airports, right?
Yes.
Which is for us, to look, you want to travel, you want to go across the Middle East. So you're facilitating everything.
Okay.
Because from a overall company perspective, if you want to look at it. So you had the industry, you had the academia, you had the private sectors, the government sectors helping that. You had the whole ecosystem ready for us, to take it to the next level. And Sharjah, I wouldn't say they are back, but they are now leading on that innovation strategy.
Yeah.
And they're coming up big time into how AI can harness or how the AI applications can bring in better health, wealth to the citizens.
Big steps.
So they're making those big, massive, giant leaps that they want to do. But they always do it in a very planned manner. People outside will think that, okay, this is happening on a very slow manner. No, but it is not actually slow. They're much more strategic in terms of how they want to do and how they want to approach, rather than a very
experimental.
On a very level of, let's say getting the Microsofts or all the big names, let's say getting them and then starting up in a big way.
Yeah.
They want to actually do, build those talents within Sharjah itself, and they want to create those talent pool of, let's say, data scientists, which is within the university, research scientists, all this they want to create here itself to harness AI,
I think when it comes to this now, and I don't think this is just my personal view, I think in general, this is the best way if you want continuity.
Sure, I agree.
If you want it on long term, this is how you should do it.
Yeah.
You should give it the infrastructure, the right infrastructure, the right environment for it to actually grow big. So when you get...
you nailed it. Yeah, the right environment is key. Yes.
Yeah, because you don't want, it's not a one-time thing. It's not something that you will do now and then I'll see if it works or not. No, it's actually something that you have envisioned for it to be embedded within the city's infrastructure for 50 years to come, 100 years to come.
And it all starts with knowledge, isn't it? So you have to have the right resources, the right knowledge. You have to start building up now itself, to go to the next level.
Especially that you have everything.
Yeah. Exactly.
It's not that you're going to get everything. It's not that you're going to start from zero. You already have everything. You're just utilizing.
True. And not relying on, let's use the word non-local talent.
Okay.
Or talent that is not coming out of UAE or out of Sharjah.
Okay.
You can't import that talent and start looking at things. That localization of that talent is important, both from a vision perspective as well as understanding the challenges, local challenges that exist. Because somebody in the US will come and try and build or try and apply something on you, but it necessarily need not work,
True.
It is something which is...
He's coming from a different perspective. He's coming from... Now, perspective can be changed even within, but he's coming from a different environment, different understanding of the community, different regulations and rules that he's used to, that not may necessarily make it applicable in your place.
Yeah.
So this is why I personally think that it's okay to get expertise from the outside. But I strongly believe that it's a must to marry or shadow a local talent with this expert in his fields.
A classic example is you're aware about the children's safety program that happens in the UAE itself, especially in Sharjah, which is called as Kanaf.
Yeah.
Now, if you look at traditionally in UK or Germany, where there is a harm to children, they're actually picked up from homes and put into foster homes.
Which makes it worse on the child itself.
Sure. But I was amazed. And although I knew, but when we were discussing this, I was amazed that what is happening here is completely different. You don't put them into foster care. Their family comes up their uncles, grandfathers, grandmothers, whoever, their whole family comes up to support.
Yeah.
So you need not pick them up and put into a foster care and lose the early childhood of that that boy or girl.
Because the main goal is not to actually separate, it's to
integrate actually.
Yeah, exactly. It's to integrate, it's to
And
make it
keep
tighter.
them away from the harm of whoever is doing that harm.
True.
So the family steps in, and it is so good to see, which is not the case in other countries.
You mentioned sectors that are targeted by the company.
Yeah.
So let's talk about those sectors that are targeted by the company on local level or international level.
So one is from an infrastructure level.
Yeah.
We are looking at building, our concept is basically to build not scalar data centers, HPC data centers, but smaller data centers. Because in AI, the more closer you are to the user, the better it is, right?
In the sense of getting data?
Yeah, because the data has to have, one is democratization is obviously there, but the data has to have has to be fast, has to be uploaded, downloaded, trained, all those data curating, all that has to happen. So it has to happen at the edge, so closer, as much closer as to the user. So we built in Sharjah, and in Sharjah, the next ones, it could be different Emirates, or within Sharjah also, it could be in different places, so that you're closer to the user. That is one from an infrastructure perspective. The second is from looking at the challenge statement itself. We are looking at getting government data to understand. So government sector is big. For example, looking at taxi data to see how taxis can be better optimized, their routes can be optimized. Look at the infrastructure perspective to plan how the roads can be much improved. So a lot of these sectors are our focus areas.
That's when it comes to the UAE. What about if we talk about a regional level?
At a regional level also, the impact is the same. We are looking at, for us, the biggest challenge is whoever has got data, right? And whoever has got data that is available, whether it is structured or unstructured data, that could be one of our biggest, use case for building an AI product and looking at the challenge statement of that particular. So we look at government sector, we look at, let's say, urban planning departments to provide digital twins. We look at airports, how they can better build their infrastructure. We look at companies, large companies like oil and gas and electricity, where you can provide predictive, and earlier it was predictive maintenance. Now they call it prescriptive maintenance.
Prescriptive.
Yeah. So
tailored.
So you will predict, but you will also tell you, that, okay, you need to buy
1, 2, 3.
Product, this 2-3 things that is going to fail, and you need to make sure that it is available. So it is going from predictive to prescriptive. So you actually have a doctor who's telling you these are the tablets that you need to go and buy.
These are the tablets that you will need to buy 1 week from now, because you will get sick.
This is what it is. And the pharmacy has to be kept ready,
Did it ever happen that a client came to you with no data or no proper storing of data, if I may say?
Yes, it happens a lot of times.
And how will that be tackled?
So,
do you not take the job by itself?
No, we in fact help those customers. Now, there's a large enterprise that wanted to, without naming, they wanted to build a digital twin. And then they realized that the data lies in silos. So it's lying in somebody's laptop. It is lying in servers somewhere else.
It's there, but we don't know where.
But you don't know where.
Okay.
Now, in such times, what we do is we help the customers to strategize how this data can be consolidated and how you can build a data lake. Now, data lake is actually a lake where you have different kind of systems that bring in the data, stream that data, and that data is curated, and that data is made ready for the next level to apply AI on top of it. So
you actually have one extra step
yes,
to start with. But you still do it.
But we still do it. We help them in that journey, because you just can't leave that customer saying that, oh, you don't have data, so it's the end of your journey. You can't tell them that.
Yeah.
You have to, the very thing that they're willing to look at certain challenges in their business areas by providing data is a big, big ask. And if they're ready for it, then you have to help them in building those journeys with their data.
Okay, let me circle back to Sharjah.
Yeah.
And ask you about opportunities that were provided to you by starting or placing your headquarters in Sharjah. You clearly explained why you chose Sharjah.
Correct.
But now, by choosing Sharjah, what opportunities were provided or were there that came according to?
So after we started in Sharjah Research Technology and Innovation Park, the park itself, they have provided us access to customers, access to industries, where they have a particular, or probably, many of these industries, they are having their own discussions.
Okay.
And the park is part of the discussion. So when the industry says that we are lacking this, or we are missing this, or we want to look at our AI journey, or a government department says, so the park has been very instrumental to provide us that access to that particular industry. And in some cases, the park is even willing to probably, be part of that journey and look at how that data can be safeguarded. So in both the aspects, they are giving us good support.
Okay. Let's pick up sustainability.
Yeah.
Let's talk a little bit about that. Now, when it comes to the company and the company's vision in promoting sustainability, how does that work?
Yeah, okay. That brings me to my first sentence that I said, which was, we built the Middle East's first water-cooled data center. Now, what happens is that these GPUs need a lot of cooling because they generate a lot of heat.
Yes.
Now, that heat has to be cooled. Now, if you use air-cooled systems, then you have to build bigger the technologies to cool those GPUs. We used water, which means that water which can be done on normal temperature. And this can cool down the GPU. So what in net effect became that we used almost 1/5 of the power that is actually required. So that brought our power requirements to a larger extent, on the lower side of it.
Yeah.
Which in practicality results into sustainability, right?
Yes.
To a much green environment. And we are in fact looking at the next stage, where we are looking at providing the power itself through solar. So even the park has plans to, when I say the park, Sharjah Research Technology Innovation Park has plans to go solar. So we will go solar from that power. So that can bring us, to net zero.
So that's a perfect marriage.
Yes, very much.
It can actually produce power through solar and use water to cool down.
Yes.
So that's just a looped cycle of sustainability.
Perfect. Yes. So that is where, we are driving the UAE's vision, or we are being part of the UAE's vision to bring sustainability or bring the carbon footprint. I mean, the least we can do for our next generation, isn't it?
That is, I agree. So this is, okay, you gave me now one example of sustainability and the vision through it. Can you give me any more projects or initiatives that are upcoming that serves the same purpose, sustainability?
So from a sustainable perspective, we can look at, like I said, examples of how we can save power emissions.
Yeah.
So a lot of, when you look at when you distribute power across households or anywhere, a lot of power leakage is there.
Yeah.
How can we stop that power leakage is one that we can look at. how can
Using AI.
using AI, and how can we even stop leakage of water, isn't it?
Yes.
So today you can use science of computational fluid dynamics
Okay.
to actually look at the flow of water and if there are leakages that are happening and detect those leakages faster, and then you can plug those leakages. So that is in net effect giving you savings, right? So power and water are two things that are key today, or there's
Key for
lack
life
of
by
resource.
itself.
Yeah, key for life itself, and we have to treat this as very, very precious resources,
Yeah.
and these resources we should make sure that wastage is not there.
Okay. When
I
it
hope
comes,
I'm not talking too much and I'm
no,
making
no, you're
sense.
not. You're not. You're not. You're actually making it interesting because see, when you see me thinking while you're talking,
Yeah,
know that you hit
fantastic.
you hit something. So it's just interesting because learning from you what I'm learning now, it's just making me realize a lot of things that I usually don't pay attention to,
True.
which is something I think this should be a responsibility for every single one of us, because this is how you will impact. Because the biggest change that you can do actually should start with yourself.
True.
And this is how it will be sustainable, and this is how it will actually spread and become on a bigger, wider scale.
True. And we don't want our children to live in times where it gets warmer.
Yeah.
There are no resources.
Yeah.
Like they say, the next few wars are going to be fought on water. Right. So let's not build that, or let's build something better for our next few generations.
It's true that we actually do watch this on movies, the change in life and how the future will be, but it is not 100% imagination. I mean,
True.
it has maybe a very low, but it still has a lower percentage in being true. So this is why we need to change, and we need to actually adapt to it.
Who thought that the impact that IT will have on lives, or a small device like mobile will have on an impact on our lives?
Who thought that AI will ever be
And then-
something?
Yeah.
We used to imagine this in science fiction movies.
True.
It's available now. It's
available.
actually have it in your mobile right now.
True.
You can actually talk to an AI.
Yeah.
It will reply. It will give you solutions. It will give you options. It will help you analyze through data.
Yeah.
Every single thing you can do in life.
Yeah. And when you and me are talking, if the mobile is listening and we're talking about shoes, for example, the next thing when you go back to your mobile is you see all the ads of shoes coming out,
And you'll be asking yourself,
that's it.
why is that? This is from AI learning,
Yes.
and it is happening in a much higher speed than expected. And people will have one of two options, whether to ride the wave or be drowned by it.
True.
There
Very
is-
well said.
There
Very
is
well said.
there is no third option to that. This is why we need to.
I think ethical AI is what I would say is, how AI can improve your lives. If it improves your lives, that is more important.
We should use it that way.
That's where you want to use it. You don't want to use it in the most misused word like generative AI, where you want to build avatars and this and that, and you want to build a fake world and you
Yeah.
want to build a digital world where you are chatting with people in the digital world. I'm not a big fan of that. That's why I'm saying there could be
I
people
am not
who are.
too, but I think even that can, if used properly,
If used properly,
it can
yes,
help
yes.
some people who have conditions maybe or challenges.
Yeah.
That's what I'm saying. Everything has it's a two-edged sword.
Yeah.
It's just how you use it. Which brings me to my next question. When we talk about trends that can impact the business, what kind of global technologies and trend would have an actual impact on the business?
I think as generative AI, the concept of all this chat GPT and all this has impacted AI in a big way.
Yeah.
I think the most important factor of all this that will come to is how can AI solve your challenges? Now, your business challenges, for governments, it could be challenges related to citizens.
Yeah.
Now, if AI can be used to build applications or to use that data to build models, that is where businesses can get impacted. So there cannot be one application that can be used to, to do all of these changes that you want to do in business. It could be small individual AI applications based on data that is available that can impact certain business areas.
Specified.
Of life. Yeah. Specified challenge statements. For example, it could be as simple as, how to protect children from harm. Now, these are based on data that can come from hospitals, from
police stations.
Let's take an example that
foster homes, if we're talking globally.
So, for example, let's say a father has been coming out of let's say jail. He's been caught under drug abuse or things like that. He comes home, and then that is the data that you have.
Yeah.
And then suddenly you find the child has fallen and is going for a treatment to an hospital.
Okay.
Now, there could be relations, right? Most of the time, social workers tend to ignore these data points.
Yeah.
Right? And how can this be related and give the social worker using AI the right result when he opens up his tablet or anything that there is an incident that has happened? You need to look at this.
Mm.
That becomes a challenge, right? And that AI can be used to solve those challenges. Or if the child's grade has been going consistently down, probably his mother is going through, or his or her mother is going through mental health. Now, that is a health department that is giving you data.
Mental health.
Very crazy.
Mental health by itself.
Yeah.
That's a huge field, huge sector that we can talk about. And
so that is what I said. That's one area for the government to look at.
But I think it's scary. It's scary when you talk about this, because using AI in such will detach emotion completely, which is something you need.
Yeah. Because there's no bias, right? There's no human bias.
Yes.
That human bias is eliminated. It could be banks, which are facing a lot of forgery or a lot of bias in terms of giving away loans to people. You can take that human bias out of it, because the AI will look at those patterns based on trained models.
Yes,
and
yes.
You can seriously say based on data, and their AI can also be used to give a human, part of it. So, for example, if you realize that a guy has, God forbid, he's got an heart attack and he's in hospital.
Okay.
It takes him 6 months to recover. There can be a human part where the banks will say, okay, you don't have to pay your loan for the next 6 or 7 months, instead of coming with a hammer. Now, that's another human aspect of it that can
humanizing AI.
Humanizing AI.
After making it technology, like pure technology, you're going back to humanize it again.
Yes.
I think it's a middle ground that we need to figure out and reach.
True.
But both of them can be a huge plus.
So I gave you two extreme cases for government and the banking sector where AI can bring in a lot of power in a very positive way.
Okay, so how is the company enhancing smart technology in Sharjah and UAE?
So UAE in general, as of now, there is adoption that is coming in terms of building smart cities.
Okay.
So now we are talking to a few free zones to build those kind of smart cities. Now, some of these smartest cities have huge amounts of data that is being already generated, whether it is from IoT sensors like CCTV or various other devices that are coming in. So we can help them. We are helping them build better infrastructure we are helping some of these free zones to build something like carless free zones,
Okay.
which means that you don't need to have cars to live within those free zones. So you can build those smart cities, those ecosystems where you don't have, where it is much more sustainable. Yeah, so a lot of these things from a smart city perspective
Can actually have a bigger impact.
Yes, drainage, sanitization, infrastructure planning, health planning, a lot of things in trying to build those smart cities.
Mr. Satish Fاسو, that was a very interesting talk.
Thank you so much, Mr. Abdullah.
And I think the potential is huge.
Definitely.
And the road is paved.
Correct.
So a handshake, I think, is acquired.
Yeah. And I think Sharjah will lead that way.
I believe so.
Yeah.
I believe so. Thank you so much. And I wish you all
Thank
the
you
best.
so much. Thank you, Mr. Abdullah.
That
It
was
was a
very
pleasure
interesting.
talking to you.
Same here. Pleasure's on me.
And, it was good to see you thinking, and it was good to see you, having more ideas.
Yeah, which is it's amazing because that's just how it is.
True.
I cannot use my imagination listening to what you're saying and understanding how this change can actually lead to something that can be physical within few years.
Yeah. So AI to impact human lives.
It will.
That is
It already is impacting.
Yes, in a positive manner,
Yeah. To be honest, it's on both sides, but more on the positive side.
Yeah.
As long as people are aware.
Yes.
As long as people are aware.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so much. It was a pleasure talking to you.